Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to be here. And I wanted to mention something just quickly because of our previous speaker. I teach environmental medicine to physicians, and I'm very much in the area of endocrine disruptors because they're massively having an impact on our patients and our society too. And I wanted to mention that there's this show out on Hulu called The Handmaid's Tale. And many of you are probably familiar with Margaret Atwood's book from the 80s, which was, a book on dystopia. So when I read it in the 80s, I'm like, dystopia, I love dystopia, And so now what we're seeing is it's actually becoming a reality due to the endocrine effects on testosterone, and testosterone levels absolutely tanking. And basically, I wrote an article called The Handmaid's Tale Becomes a Reality, which is out there on the web, published by Thrive Global, and it talks about the different ways the environment has impacted the decrease in testosterone. So it's funny that it's an Emmy Award-winning show based on, it's supposed to be fiction, but it's really not. We're following this right now in our society. And I see patients, and I see these low testosterone levels in my younger men and my older men, and it's heartbreaking because I'm actually seeing it sometimes in teenage boys, and these are the ones who are being bullied. And so it's a problem. But that's not what this talk is about. This talk is about epigenetic contributions to beauty and wellness, how to program your DNA. So hopefully I can do this properly. So that's just a little bit more about me. I wrote a book called Cracking the Beauty Code, How to Program Your DNA for Health, Vitality, and Younger Looking Skin. And that's really where this talk is coming out of part of that, because I couldn't get the whole book into a talk. So we're just going to talk about the nutri-epigenomic effect. And then I consult and speak globally to the natural beauty industry for my work in toxins and personal care products. That's something that I am known for. And then I teach the environmental medicine to the doctors, and I see patients as well. So your genes are not your destiny, and this is probably the biggest change in medicine that we've come across since bloodletting. So while the fountain of youth has been searched for many millennia, what if I told you that the fountain of youth could be found in your own DNA? So I have developed a solution that empowers you to take charge of your aging process and shave years off your looks and add years of health and vitality to your life. And this is through epigenetics. This is through turning the right genes on and off. I don't have the graph in here, but what I teach my patients, I show them a graph where the x-axis is years of life and the y-axis is health and vitality. And if you look at this, on average, people start to decline around 40s, 50s. And then from 50s to 70s and 80s, it's this slow, inexorable decline, right? And what I tell my patients is you want to be fairly steady, and then one day you have a straight line down, you die. So this is called good quality of life. This is what you want. You want to feel good for as many years as you can. You don't just want a lot of years. And so that's what we're talking about here. So epigenetics, epi is that Greek word that literally means above, and it talks about factors that influence DNA from above. So gone is the old construct of frozen in stone DNA that many of us went to medical school, and this is kind of what was taught. Not in my medical school, by the way. Locked forever in a hopeless pattern of inevitability. So think of the DNA as the hardware in your body, and then the environmental influences are the software, because your hardware needs software to tell it what to do. Otherwise, the DNA is just, kind of sitting there. So here's a short, just a little graphic of the three main mechanisms of epigenetics, and DNA methylation is the one that has the most research behind it. Methylation is just adding a methyl group to the DNA, but you can also demethylate by taking away a methyl group as well. So this is a bidirectional thing, and this is not something that is permanent. That's the whole joy and terror of epigenetics, is that you can influence things in a positive way, yay, but then if you stop doing those things, you can lose those benefits. And then we have the histone tail modifications, which is really, can you open up the DNA enough to read it and do transcription and everything. And then the non-coding RNAs are really have more to do with, are we inhibiting the translation at the very end? And so how did we learn a lot about epigenetics? And it really kind of started with these agouti mice. These mice that you see in the picture are genetically twins, identical, same mice strain. And when the agouti gene is in the off position caused by methylation, they have the gene for expressing the black fur in the on position. And so this is the normal state of affairs for normal, healthy brown mice, like the brown mice that you see there. But if the agouti gene is turned on thanks to a lack of methylation or overt demethylation, the agouti protein binds to the melanin receptor and it blocks them from making the black pigment. And so that's the unhealthy, obese mice that not only have that yellow fur coat that you see, but they're hyperinsulinemic, they're more susceptible to cancer, and on average live shorter lives. So what are the methylators that were fed to the pregnant mice? And folate and B12 in the diet help produce the healthy brown fur mice. What can demethylate? Okay, I put this in because of my work in environmental medicine and endocrine disruptors, because this is pretty interesting and fairly new. Is that what can demethylate? Well, BPA, which is bisphenol A, which is part of plastics, and phthalates can both demethylate and turn on the agouti genes. And so this has been found. And what about BPA? Well, according to the NHANES data, 93% of Americans have BPA in their urine. And the phthalates is a family. There's high molecular weight, low molecular weight, depending. But most Americans also have phthalates in them. And so what's interesting too about the BPA and the phthalates, unlike other environmental toxicants like PCBs or heavy metals, is that their half-lives are pretty short. However, exposure is so ubiquitous that basically we are being bathed in this on a daily basis. And so it's able to do its work, nasty work, unabated. So BPA and phthalates, and we're not going to talk about that anymore, but I've got entire lectures on these. So how can epigenetics help skin aging? We can learn about how to turn down the genes responsible for prematurely aging your skin. We're going to talk about what to eat for younger looking skin. What's the secret master switch for turning on your youth-promoting genes? I'll give you a hint. I saw it in a poster out there in the room. What supplements to take for glowing skin, how certain ingredients in your skincare products are toxic and affecting your health and potentially the health of your future children. This is the other part about epigenetics. This is the dark side of epigenetics, is that there's transgenerational effects and through the generations. And this was first seen in a pesticide called vinclozolin, where they exposed the first generation of mice to the vinclozolin, and then the subsequent generations going down to F3, I don't know if it's F3 or F4, but these subsequent generations were not exposed, and they were still showing the effects of vinclozolin. Where is vinclozolin used? It's used very much in vineyards, so in winemaking. How detoxification can clear the way for beautiful and radiant skin. Well, isn't that amazing? Your skin is actually an organ of elimination. It's not just there to hold things in. Your skin is very active. It has many, many different jobs. Your skin breathes. You've got an immune system on your skin. You've got neurotransmitters in your skin. You've got a gut-skin-brain connection. And so your skin, and it's an organ of elimination. And if your your more predominant organs of elimination are not functioning properly, then the toxins will try to escape through your skin. And so this turns out as blemishes or skin rashes or things like this. I already talked about gut health, skin health. And then stress and lack of beauty sleep are ruining your complexion. Oh, there's such good studies on this. It's crazy. And I don't have to tell you that most people are under a lot of stress. So this is the graphic from my book. So I talk about these different areas: diet, supplements, emotional well-being, sleep, detoxification, and clean products. All of these are going to impact your beauty and your health. And I only have time today to talk about diet, but it will be interesting. But the detoxification and the clean products are also very, very important, because the average woman applies, I don't remember the exact number, but ingredient-wise, up to 100 different ingredients are applied to a woman's skin before she even leaves the house in the morning, just due to her morning shower routine and the hair products and the makeup and the skin and God forbid the perfume, which is all phthalates. I stopped wearing perfume in my 20s, and and so for me, it's like this is something that I tell my patients to do, and I get a lot of grief about it. I don't know why, but anyway, women are very much bonded with their signature scent or whatever. And the phthalates are the thing that it's a scent fixative. If you just sprayed yourself with something that didn't have the phthalates, what would it do? It would evaporate. And so the phthalates are the thing that sticks the perfume, the scent, to your skin, so it sticks around for a little bit longer. So we're going to turn on our beauty and health genes or turn them off through 100 or more different choice points throughout each day, where you have the opportunity over and over and over again to make a better choice. And so these choices, we're going to talk about the diet choices, but in some of these other talks, we've talked about other choices with lifestyle too. But we have to make it a priority. There is such a current onslaught of toxins and stress and nutritional deficiencies in our life right now that anymore people really need to make their health a priority. So I really like this cartoon. What fits your busy schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? Always good to be above the ground, right? So epigenetics and skin. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine thy food. So food is medicine, and we simply cannot forget that, because you could take all the supplements in the world and spend 6 hours in the gym a day, but if you don't have good foundational food, have you really done that much for yourself? So here we go, the epigenomics part of it, basically the food and nutrients that affect your genes, how they express. So we're going to talk about green tea, berries, pomegranate, cruciferous vegetables, carotenoids, and fish oil, and fats. Fats are very important. This is the skin aging pathway that I have in my book. And basically, your skin ages through external factors and internal factors. And so the internal factors are genetics, oxidative metabolism. I mean, every day we're creating reactive oxygen species just through metabolism. And you want that. You wouldn't want to shut that down. So we are going to age to some degree. And glycation, which is not really mentioned very much, but glycation is something that's very important too. I talk about it in my book. I'm not going to talk about it in here. External factors are environmental pollutants. This has really come to the fore in the last few years, where the studies are showing that particulate matter like PM10 and PM2.5 are small enough to actually get into your skin, where they create an inflammatory response, and they create reactive oxygen species, and they affect the melanocytes. And melanocytes will put out more melanin, which is a defensive move, right, for your skin. And so environmental pollutants have been found to increase age spots and then promote premature wrinkling of the skin and loss of elasticity. And then there's smoking and poor nutrition, stress, of course, and UV exposure. UV exposure is still a source of aging. And so you can see they kind of converge, and then they go down the middle to increase reactive oxygen species, and then they induce AP1, which is a transcription factor, which also turns on the matrix metalloproteinases, which are right below it, the MMPs. These are the little enzymes that go snip, snip, snip right through your collagen. And so, as you know, the body is continually remodeling, and as long as you're creating new collagen, it's, you know, not such a big deal. As we age, our MMPs increase, and we don't replace enough, and so that's why the skin quality goes down. But AP1 also induces NF-kappa B, which is a master switch for inflammation, and then that just initiates the inflammatory response, which throws off more ROS. This is just like a negative feedback. It's a feedback loop. I like to call it the circle of hell. And then you can see in the middle, in the green, we've got something called NRF2, which is your body's own way of producing endogenous antioxidants and detoxifying enzymes. So again, I want to emphasize here this idea of, for example, taking antioxidants via supplements is antioxidants have really short half-lives, and so you would, if you just take a few antioxidant pills in the morning and think you're covered for the day, you're not. But if you turn on your body's own production of NRF2, you can create your own antioxidants and detoxifying enzymes for a longer period of time. So this is going to inhibit NF-kappa B, and it's going to produce the things that I said. So green tea. So the green tea is famous for its polyphenols like EGCG, and it's got benefits for antioxidant DNA repair. It's anti-inflammatory, chemopreventive. Dermatologists are all over green tea for this reason. Immunomodulatory, increases microcirculation in the skin, and it modulates skin properties of women such as elasticity, roughness, scaling, and density. And then the blueberries, the anthocyanidins, which are the, part of that dark pigment, they stabilize the collagen by repelling glycation, promoting collagen synthesis and microcirculation. They inhibit the matrix metalloproteinases, and they're anti-inflammatory. More berries. Raspberries contain ellagic acid, which is anti-cancer, blocks MMPs, prevents degradation of elastic fibers, and promotes new elastin. So that's the thing that makes your skin sag as you get older, is the elastin. Promotes type 1 procollagen, and it blocks NF-kappa B, so it's anti-inflammatory, and it induces NRF2. So raspberries would be a really good thing to eat. And then here's just a citation for a study showing just that. It induced collagen formation. So I wanted to just bring this up one more time so you can see the flow of the reactive oxygen species inducing AP1 going down to the MMPs, which results in damaged collagen and skin wrinkling. I call this the skin wrinkling pathway. And so the rest of the slides and what we've been talking about is at what point can we intervene here to make a difference in this setup. So the pomegranate is very interesting. It also contains ellagic acid. It blocks the matrix metalloproteinases, increases dermal skin proliferation, restores skin cells after UVA radiation. As you know, the UVB is what SPF products in sunscreens are referring to, and just recently, in recent years, everyone has started to realize that UVA actually penetrates more deeply. So it rescues skin from PM10 particulate matter in pollution, which is an extrinsic agent that I've already mentioned. It attenuates the reactive oxygen species production and the expression of NOx1, NOx2, TNF-alpha, IL-1 beta, IL-6, IL-8, and matrix metalloproteinase 1. All of these are stimulated by PM10. So that's a pretty good suite of effects. Pomegranate juice is found to reduce UV-mediated damage in the skin cells through the decrease in NF-kappa B. It's also a NRF2 inducer, and it decreases ROS. And this is just part of a graph that I included from molecules on pomegranate and skin cancer. And you can just see how many different ways it intervenes in UVB-induced DNA damage. And if you go down the list, you can see lots of MMPs. MMPs is a family of matrix metalloproteinase enzymes. You can see that it augments UVB-mediated increase in P53, which is a tumor suppressor gene. So you can just see all those different benefits which have been looked at. So the pomegranate oil in the skin has been found to regenerate the epidermis. It's a potent source of omega-5 fatty acids, which is different than omega-3 and 6, which is what we hear mostly about. And then in one study, the intervention was a laser treatment, and they found that the pomegranate oil intervention group had significantly reduced edema and itching, and it enabled a faster outcome in wrinkle reduction. Cruciferous vegetables are next because of sulforaphane, which downregulates AP1, MMPs, NF-kappa B, upregulates NRF2. So it's really a powerful regulator of skin aging. And it's also a tyrosinase inhibitor, which is going to help with the age spots. There's a lot of topical tyrosinase inhibitors, but this one is internal. And then what about the carotenoids, which are your phytonutrients like beta-carotene, lutein, zeaxanthin, and lycopene? So the carotenoids are in all of these colored vegetables, the reds, the oranges, carrots, tomatoes, greens. And they also decrease the ROS, they inhibit the AP1, they downregulate MMP. Are you seeing a pattern here? By choosing these foods to eat, you can retard this pathway in your own body. Downregulates NF-kappa B, and it's, well, lycopene only. The other carotenoids have not been found to be NRF2 inducers. Fish oil and fats was found that women with higher intake of healthy fats had fewer wrinkles and firmer skin tone. Those who consumed the most olive oil had reduced facial aging. In Japanese women, they found that the higher intakes of total fat, saturated fat, and monounsaturated fat was significantly associated with increased skin elasticity. And that same study also found that a higher intake of green and yellow vegetables was significantly associated with a decreased wrinkling score. So the fish oils, now we're talking about omega-3 essential fatty acids, are helpful for anti-inflammation. They enhance elasticity. The elasticity study was interesting because the amount of fish oil was really quite modest. It was 1 gram, which actually a lot of the studies use 1 gram. Seems to be pretty popular. But what they found after, and I don't remember the period of time, 30, 60, or 90 days, might have been 30, but elasticity was enhanced by 10% just with 1 gram of fish oil per day. So remember, elasticity is why our skin sags as we get older. So elasticity is a good target to look at. Protects collagen, limits UV-induced skin damage, and downregulates the MMPs. So really, we are looking at a new kind of anti-aging medicine which looks deeply at aging causes, not just tries to attack them from the outside, right? So consumers like it because it's non-aggressive. It's something you can do through the lifespan. It's not like a one-shot deal like injections or invasive procedures. And by the way, the media has really caught on to this. Anti-aging is kind of considered a pejorative term anymore, and well-aging is the new trend because we are going to age. We're going to age. We want to age more gracefully, so well-aging. We want to feel good while we age. We want to look the best we can, but we are going to age because what is the alternative to aging? It's death. So again, it's better to be above the ground. Okay. And then if you want, you can text me at this number, and I will send you a graphic of some of these ideas. Oh, but if you do, you have to give me your email address because that's how I will send it to you. And then in conclusion, that was Epigenomics for Beauty and Wellness, and it starts with nutrition, so foundational to your health of your entire body. So we talked about green tea, berries, pomegranate, cruciferous vegetables, carotenoids, and the fats and the fish oils. And so thank you for your attention. I hope this was inspirational for you and gave you some good ideas on what you can change in your life. There's more, of course, but please ask me any questions. Thank you.
Time for questions?
Yeah.
Does this work? I think the other one. Yeah. So you want us to email you or text you?
Oh, you can text me at that number. I'll go put it back if you want that graphic. But you have to give me your email because I don't know how to text it.
Test.
I know that really ages me. We need a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I'm pretty fond of my skin as well. And my wife and I have done many experiments on collagen supplements, Dave Asprey and so on and so on. So we're currently taking marine-based sourced, rather clean source of collagen. Have you found that that is a useful thing for skin, or has that turned out to be more myth?
So recently I was in Switzerland talking about skin, the same idea, and I dropped a bombshell on the issue of collagen because marketing has really gone wild with collagen, and it's the solution to all your ills. And I pointed out that not only when you ingest collagen, you're digesting it and breaking it down into all the little individual amino acids, and how do you know it's going to be put together into collagen? So that's the first thing. But secondly, collagen formation is under genetic control. It's under gene expression. And so just flooding the body with substrate, if the gene expression and control is not set up or ready for it, then you're not going to get the results that you want. Now, studies have shown some benefit to collagen, but I've also seen, just in my practice, I've seen it have, no effect. So is it helping you?
Right. Another follow-on question is pomegranate, all the berries. What about the extracts? Have you found efficacy in pomegranate extract versus pomegranate powder versus just eating bunches of pomegranates?
Yeah, so this talk was on food. And so I stayed with pomegranate juice, pomegranate seeds. I stayed with the actual foods. I also talk about supplements, and I don't think I talk about pomegranate supplements. I think food is where you want to start.
Yeah, obviously, but you don't have any experience, any clinical experience with?
No, not with pomegranate powder.
Or berry powder extracts, right.
No.
Because they're seasonal. I mean, the practicality of berries and even pomegranates is that they're not 52 weeks a year. So what do we do?
Frozen.
Right, okay.
Frozen organic.
All right, so your last slide at conclusions, kind of a list, was that an ordered priority list?
No, that was just an order of how I gave it.
Do you have a priority list of this is most efficacious and second, third, fourth?
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful talk, and I really like that idea of well aging as well. That sort of works against pathologizing aging.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's a really great approach.
Yes.
I want to ask you about UV exposure. It seems pretty common among people who specialize in anti-aging at the skin level to say avoid sun exposure because of photoaging. But then, of course, you've got the vitamin D problem that requires supplementation. Are the supplements as bioavailable as the D that we produce endogenously? So I'm just thinking, well, maybe there's a kind of amount of UV exposure that would be appropriate. From my own point of view, I notice if I get sunburnt, that seems to really cause photoaging, whereas more moderate exposure seems actually to make my skin look healthier and younger. And
Yeah, so the issue of sun exposure is a really big controversy right now. And part of it is for the reasons that I think you're stating, which is that full spectrum sunlight is healthy for the body. We evolved having our skin exposed to sunlight. And so are we doing ourselves any favor by slathering sunscreen on and avoiding the sun like moles? You know, skin cancer rates continue to rise, and yet people are wearing more and more sunscreen and avoiding the sun. So what's that all about? Well, I could talk a lot about that. Actually, sunscreen, the ingredients in sunscreen products are endocrine disruptors and can be quite toxic, so there's that. But I believe that some sun exposure is good for you, and I have fair skin as well. And so what I tend to, and I don't encourage burning at all because that's really bad for your skin. But I think some sun exposure is good for you, and it helps with vitamin D production. And you know what? I've been doing some research into this area, and I'm not ready to publish yet on it. But there are some kind of hidden or phenomenal aspects of sun exposure that are going to come to light. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Lillian. Quick question on the citations you had about blueberries, raspberries, pomegranate. So, you know, I'm sure I eat them. I'm sure a lot of people here eat them every day. What was the dosage? Should we be eating, you know, a cup a day, 2 cups a day? To get those benefits on the fruits?
Yeah, in my book, I've got 50 pages of references, so that was just like a partial, there was just a few, I didn't really put them all in there. But in terms of dosage, I mean, that's not how we evolved, is saying, okay, the studies call for 3 cups of blueberries, that's what I'm having for breakfast. Oh my gosh, I'm so full of blueberries, I can't eat another bite of anything else that might also be beneficial. So in terms of berries, in terms of dosages, you'd have to look back at the paper to see what they were using. But I always say to my patients, eat normal, you know, half a cup to a cup. Eat normal amounts of berries, fruits and vegetables. Well, actually, I actually suggest eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, like 9 servings a day or more. So I do promote fruits and vegetables, but I don't necessarily tell people to eat 6 cups of this and, you know, 4 cups of that. No.
That's great, thanks. And on the fish oil, so I personally find fish oil very difficult to take down. And so I've been starting eating a lot of just fish skin. Right, whenever I'm eating fish, I'm eating the whole fish skin. Can you get, can you get enough of the fish oil, especially, you know, if the citation's only 1 gram a day, if you're eating a lot of fish skin instead of taking fish oil, do you think that's about as
What kind of fish are you eating?
Sometimes it's salmon, sometimes it's different types of whitefish, whole fish, ranzino, I mean.
Are you eating farm salmon?
No, wild
No?
caught.
Okay.
Everything's, I'm trying to always buy wild caught.
Yeah, okay. So the fish oil, I'm sure that information is available, maybe even through USDA data, but I don't have it off the top of my head. I suspect you would have to eat quite a bit of fish, though, but I don't know the answer, so sorry.
Okay, we're finishing right on time. That's great.
Great.
Everybody, please a round of applause for Dr. Fine.